Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and we have another episode in the ongoing, let's call them shenanigans, around the Unity game engine. And this one is actually a bit funny and also a bit interesting. So this one involves AppLovin. Now, it's probably a name many of you had probably never heard of before all this began. I covered this in an earlier story, so I'm not going to get into a ton of detail of it, but you need to know this for the backstory. AppLovin was actually a company that almost merged with Unity. Instead, Unity merged with IronSources. They kind of compete then as a result. IronSources and AppLovin do the same sort of thing: user analytics, user acquisition, mobile ads, that sort of stuff. And it turned out that some of this new Unity runtime fee was actually apparently aimed at killing off AppLovin. So they were reaching out to people and basically saying, yeah, you're not going to have to pay this new fee, this fee of like potentially up to 20 cents per runtime install. Again, we're still waiting to find out, what actually is going to happen with that fee. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that we're going to actually see it as it was announced. But anyways, they said, yeah, you won't have to pay this fee if you use our services instead of AppLovin. And it was basically aimed straight at as an attempt to destroy Unity competitor AppLovin. So that was the article that came out. This was originally on mobilegamer.biz. Definitely gave you an interesting idea behind, what their motivations were of introducing this fee in the first place, and how, again, there's a very mobile-centric look here, but it does look like they were trying to target these people, and they were very specifically trying to target AppLovin. And AppLovin, and again, I did cover this earlier as well, responded back. So they do have a relationship. Obviously, there was an almost merger between the companies, and he responded back about how he would recommend them work. And he also says straight out that, we do feel targeted. And yeah, so that is a very legit feeling here. So seem too targeted at us for me to do that, so I'm voicing them here. So literally, AppLovin did feel like they were the target of Unity as part of this Unity runtime fee. And I get that, especially, if one of my competitors basically saying, we'll give you a discount if you don't use their service, I would take that as a bit of an attack too. Well, we might have a little bit of a counterattack now, because they just did this announcement, which is very interesting. It's sort of a brain exercise of how you would migrate from Unity to other game engines, including a project to actually do it. So this is the scaffolding of a tool for migrating away from Unity to various different engines. Those various engines being specifically the Unreal Engine, the Godot engine, and the Cocos engine. So he gets into the details of exactly how he proposed to do this. So he says, more or less, a Unity project consists of scripts, so CS files, mono-behavior based, static assets, things like scenes, prefabs, and so on, and plugins. So he's looking at how would we get all of these things across. The first suggestion is to use ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo. So you do need to have a key, by the way, if you want to check this out. And by the way, there is a version of this you can go ahead and check out. And what it basically does is it tries its best to use large language models to actually do the translation from Unity C# over to GD script. And they're going to do this for multiple different things. So here you can see on the left-hand side, we have a player class based on mono behavior. And over here, it is authoring a GD script class for Godot. And it's not perfect. It's not flawless. So you can see here, most of the names and methods resolved and translated correctly. However, manual intervention still be required. For example, invoke repeating was not ported correctly. Start method should be named _ready, etc. And here is some code migrating from Unreal Engine. Same deal. So here's the player class, and here is the C++ class being generated on the other end. And again, it isn't flawless, but it starts. So saying here, as with GDScript, large language model was able to translate overall logic reasonably well, but manual tweaks are required to make it work correctly. Migrating to Cocos, which is another engine I haven't talked about other than in my recent Unity Alternatives engine. Cocos Creator is JavaScript/TypeScript based for the logic there. They're expecting similar thing. However, more work is needed to tweak the prompts. I do not think large language model can fully solve the script migration issue. However, large language model generated code can create a baseline that can speed up the migration process. The results above are highly experimental, and we are inviting everyone to join the open source migration project. Suggest prompt improvements, tweak C# parsing, and other destination engines. And then we've also got, they're looking at integrating in tools for migrating static assets. Now, if you've been following my channel, I've actually been covering a bunch of these options out there as well. So basically, it's a way to port over those assets into the other engines. For example, FBX to GLTF in Godot world, FBX support in Unreal, FBX Smart Material Conversion for Cocos are the foundations for static assets, various different migration tools. So here they're looking at using a Godot migration tool. This is actually the Unity package _ Godot. I covered this in the video about going from one to the next, actually for migrating to Godot from Unity in the past. So they're actually looking at using some of the existing stuff that's already out there. And then plugins ecosystem, they're obviously going to have to create some work there, but the interesting thing is they have created Unreal Godot plugins for their Max ad solutions, with the Cocos Max plugin coming soon, and then obviously you need other plugins to pull over as well. So this project is sort of the genesis of something. So the current version of the tool is purely a proof of concept. So I wanted to demonstrate they can use like modern LLMs to ease the transition between Unity and other engines, and I think early results are positive. It makes sense because fundamental game engine structures are similar, but language and APIs can vary a lot. This is exactly what LLMs are good at, are good at generalizing and translating an idea. Once we implement static asset migration and improve LLM prompts, I believe this tool has the potential to help hundreds of developers ease the daunting task of rewriting the entire game from scratch on a new engine. While an auto-migrated project is unlikely to work out of the box, the translated business logic, re-imported assets, auto-generated comments, and hints will spare engineers from days of tedious, repetitive, and formulaic migration work. The first three engines we will focus on are the Godot, Cocos, and Unreal engines, and they want the community to come together on this one. So it will take the developer community to enhance the engine's ecosystems, and it will take that community to create open source tools that reduce repetitive migration work. I believe together we can create a viable option to move beyond the Unity game engine. So check out our migration proof of concept on GitHub. It's, again, proof of concept for now, but they are actively working on it, and join their Discord server. So it's MIT licensed, and if you'd like to contribute, you can contribute by reviewing and improving ChatGPT prompts for Godot and Unreal, adding prompt/tools to migrate for Cocos, adding static asset migration tools for Godot, Cocos, and Unreal, contributing to a list of existing plugins that help migration, making this tool easy to run for new developers across Linux, Mac, and Windows, and providing feedback on the architecture. Again, everything is available up on GitHub. It is MIT open source license. This was all literally just started 2 days ago. So it is early on, very early prototype. So you can see right now it can scan a project and detect files eligible for migration. Then it uses ChatGPT to translate the CS files to either GDScript or to C++ for Unreal Engine. Install details are available here in terms of features that are coming into it. So here's what they need help with. So they got migrate Unity assets to Godot. Please don't spell it like that. Cocos 2D, and then potentially other engines, and then source code migrations across as well. And then potentially look at some other engines, step-by-step console-based migration wizard potentially in the future, more edge case handling, architectural review, and improvements looked at as well. So basically they're creating this scaffolded tool using a variety of different technologies to help migrate between game engines, specifically from Unity to other engines, and I can't possibly think of their motivation behind doing this, but it is interesting. I know a lot of people are doing similar things. I know a lot of developers out there are also taking their Unity source and just throwing it in and doing this by hand, and I think ChatGPT actually could be the answer to making it get 90% of the way there. Definitely an interesting project though, and definitely a counterpunch, because it used to be that AppLovin and Unity were partners, and then they became sort of, I guess, frenemies, and now I think we'd almost just say enemies. And the fact that they're calling this Project Unifree, I think that says something as well. So let me know what you think of this move, of this project. Do you think it has any chance in hell of working? That's it. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.